Tucson, Arizona, the only place to go if you want to be a pro.
Welcome on in, guys, to the AZ Wildcats podcast. I'm your host, David Fairall. He is Kevin Thomas, and it is a beautiful Monday afternoon here in downtown Phoenix. Nice and cool outside, Kevin, recently in the great city of Phoenix.
For sure.
As we get ready to make our move from PHNX HQ2 to HQ3 in the upcoming weeks here. But Kevin, how are we living? How was the weekend? How was the UFC card? How's life?
All right, I'll keep this short and I'll keep this brief. Life has been busy. I have been moving this past 3 days. In fact, the movers are currently moving things into my apartment as we speak on this very show here today. Luckily, Espo's a bit of a better planner than I am. Not by much, but a bit of a better planner because he is having us move in the late summer as opposed to directly smack dab in this 70-day streak of 100-plus degree temperatures that I'm moving in. I guess, yeah, I don't know.
I moved in June, so you're looking at two absolute just buffoons up here in front of a camera.
But the weekend was good. We had some good food. We packed up. We watched the UFC fights this weekend. Shout out to the Black Beast, Derek Lewis, doing his thing.
I'll let you do that.
Yeah,
one.
no, he did a bunch of celebrations. He did his classic like ba ba ba. He acted like a dog in Tyler Teixeira's corner. Took his shorts off. Mooned Will Compton from the Bussin' with the Boys pod. It was a crazy UFC fight night in Nashville kind of card. But I'm excited because I was also in the midst of moving, in the midst of watching the UFC, in the midst of all this stuff, trying to deal with the city of Phoenix water, which is neither here nor there. The MLB draft is going on. The NBA 2K Summer League, which I kind of hate calling it the NBA 2K Summer League, but the NBA Summer League is going on. And Arizona Wildcats are still relevant. It's a side note from what we're actually about to get into, but it's a good way to lead us into the program talk.
Yeah.
About it's very fortunate to be a fan of this Arizona Wildcats program for a bunch of reasons. But during this time of year is because most fans of most teams have nothing to pay attention to during this time of year in terms of the major four sports, in terms of the impact players on their teams for the upcoming fall and winter sports.
Yeah.
Arizona's lucky in the sense that it gives its fans, late baseball postseason stuff. The amount of pros. Excuse me, sorry. The moving is just causing indigestion at this point.
I was going to say you were just getting emotional talking about breaking yourself up a little bit, talking about the program.
Brendan Summerhill, Carter Bryant,
it's T-Mac.
No, but genuinely, like we're very fortunate to be able to follow this school year round and have things to talk about. I know you and I like to make light of being in the dog days of summer, doing what you and I do, trying to get stuff to talk about. But we're lucky that we cover Arizona because there is stuff to talk about most days. So this summer, we're in the dog days. There's not much on TV outside of the WNBA and NBA Summer League and some baseball professional, but Arizona Wildcats always relevant, and there's no better time to talk about the pros than in the summer when they're getting drafted.
100% on that. Shout out basketball and football guy who's here in the chat already. Says Arizona got a first-round pick in the NBA, NFL, and MLB. I mean, you are right, sir. And fires us up, man. Fires us up. I didn't see anybody say only program to do so. So we might have to do some research on that because I feel like you would say that if that was the case, right? So we got to find out who's the elite company that we're sitting with in terms of having a first round pick in all of those sports. But also as the take of the MLB draft is the worst marketed draft in professional sports. Listen to this. I walk in here this morning. I see the D-backs make a pick in the 4th round. I go, oh, let's toss it on the old television, huh? It's no sports going on right now. Like baseball's on the All-Star break. It must be on MLB Network. It must be, Kevin. You know what's on MLB Network? Home Run Derby pregame show.
Oof.
Thing starts at 5 p.m.
Yeah.
And they have a pregame show starting at like 10 a.m. all the way till.
Well, there's nothing going on. It's not like there's like some draft for maybe the next star of your league in the next half decade potentially being selected.
The crazy part is that I feel like players more and more these days are making the fast process through the minor league system. Like, it's not like the old days where when Bryce Harper did it, it was like a complete anomaly. A lot of these college guys, like, they're spending like a season. I mean, look at Paul Skeens. Dude flew through the minor league system halfway through a season, right? And he's already in the majors.
The Show-esque. It was MLB The Show-esque.
It really
run.
You don't even make it up that fast.
Correct. They don't let you.
No, they don't. They hold you back and make you go through the mud a little bit more. Edgar's right. The MLB is so out of touch. It's insane, man. It's insane what they just did. I was talking about it on the PHNX D-Back show. Go watch it. At the end of the show, me and Kevin were talking about it. It's the MLB is just so ass backwards, man. They just don't. They don't know how. They have 2 left feet. They don't know how to stop tripping all over themselves. They're just ridiculous. And the MLB draft not being like, how am I not allowed to watch? How can I not watch Mason White get drafted this morning? How can I not watch that? Unless I can on MLB.com with an MLB TV subscription, which we do have, to be fair. But I don't want to have to jump through a million hoops. It should just be on cable. Like, what are we talking about?
1,000%. And plus, like, it's the idea that I know, okay, walk with me here. I'm not trying to say that Mason White's the biggest star in the MLB draft. But what I'm saying is, if Mason White has as cool of a story as Mason White has, and he's being as drafted as historic of a franchise as he did with the Boston Red Sox, that story of him being a hometown hero for his college and almost leading them to the highest of heights at the College World Series must be told. And if Mason White's story is as cool as it is, and it's not being told, imagine the stories that, as Arizona fans, we don't even know about because we weren't following those teams or these prospects 100%. Heading into the draft. It's how you get people in on your league, is selling the stories of the athletes. People connect with those athletes and then follow those athletes, follow those teams. I know nowadays, this is more of an NBA thing, but it's true of all sports. I think it's becoming, the more we have like clip culture and highlight culture, fans just want to follow players. Sometimes they have teams that they're hardcore into. We appreciate all of you guys for being hardcore Arizona Wildcat fans, just like me and Damon are. But the reality of the situation is you can't have a league if people don't know or care about who your players are outside of like a couple guys.
Yeah.
And the NBA has been...
How is everybody not watching Paul Skeens get drafted? That Correct. Should be a situation where like you're sitting... People that are sports fans in this country are all sitting in front of their television waiting for Paul Skeens to hear his name be called as the Pittsburgh Pirates /1 pick, because that dude's a phenom. But you don't even like, it doesn't even like mean anything. You know what I mean? Because that's just how baseball markets it.
I mean, he's having a historic start to his career, but it's being totally underscored by the fact that his team can't win games when he's pitching. And it's not his fault.
And you have like the biggest journalists in the sport going out there and putting their stamp on like, this guy should be traded to a new team. And you're like, he's in year 2. It's like getting
John Morant in Memphis, and then as soon as he gets there, being like, well, I mean, can we trade him to the Knicks? Can I interest you in one first rounder?
It'd be like if Shams came out and was legitimately like, Cooper Flagg like has a good start and is like, really, Cooper Flagg should be looking at potentially requesting a trade to maybe New York, Boston, Miami, or San Antonio. And you're just sitting there and you're like, what? Like what? How did we get here already? Just underscores just really how terrible the entire system is. Shout out Kobe, by the way.
Yep.
Kevin, I did not tell you this. I was going to tell you this on air.
All right.
Kobe and I saw each other at the bars out randomly on Saturday night.
Because you guys run the city.
Yeah,
that's a given.
I was just at the hut, up at the bar in the inside, ordering some drinks. All of a sudden, I just hear, Damon? Look over. My guy, Kobe.
Is that Damon Dog of the AZ Wildcats podcast here at this
brother?
Bar?
And it was just vibes, man. It was just the boys. But yeah, that was pretty cool. Shout out Kobe. Shout out Tucson. Greatest city on earth. I always say it. And I mean it.
Yeah, greatest food in America, probably. City of gastronomy, incredibly underrated. And the more you travel this great nation, the more you grow appreciation for a place like Tucson. And then you come back to Phoenix and you're like, what the hell?
Well,
is this place?
So my friend, just sidetrack real quick. My friend who was in town, who I was visiting, she's from Jamaica, and you know, she's pretty well to do. You know, a family in Jamaica, and like she told me that like Usain Bolt lives not too far from her family's house, for example. But you know, she's been in nice areas, aplenty. And she was saying that like she was like spending time in Oro Valley and like the foothills for like the first time since she's like been in Tucson visiting family. And she was like, it's so nice. It's unbelievable. And it's what I always say. It's like the suburbs are like, it's like the best bang for your buck you could get anywhere. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. And then you come out to Phoenix and it's just like concrete desert. You know what I mean? Is just, there's not the culture here. There's not the ties to history here. There's just not. So I know people get on us sometimes for where we are located, but it is just simply where we are employed. And we do an Arizona Wildcats podcast. I do love Arizona. Reason.
I will say that, like, I as much as Kevin less so than me, but I do love this state, and I
the freedom state.
I like living. I've said before, I would love to live in Tucson, but you know, I love living in the state of Arizona at the end of the day, so it makes me happy. Yeah. Kobe is so right. The classiest of establishments, the Hut on 4th Avenue.
Dude, the food trucks out there, I think, sustained me during my time at
I'm
U
sure,
of A.
Kevin.
Like, I think that was the reason I made it out alive. Is just after a night out, just walking over to one of those food trucks, being like, "Give me 2 of everything. I'll walk home and eat the rest." Yeah. You know what I mean?
Edgar, I'm pretty sure the Foothills is Tucson. I'm not crazy when I say that. It's its own neighborhood, but it's the city. It's within the city limits. Nice area.
I mean, hey,
I'm a Sam Hughes man myself. I love Sam Hughes neighborhood. That's like, if I could live anywhere, that would be where I would live. So I want to be in the thick of it. I'm just saying that the suburbs are really, really nice in this city, or that city, not this city.
The city.
The city.
The city that produces a ton of pro athletes, right? And I
Correct.
think like
way to get us back on track there, Kevin.
And because of the University of Arizona's location in the best city in America of Tucson, it's attracted a lot of incredible athletes. Now I was writing an article for our series of what ifs that we're doing this week on gophnx.com. Check that out when it drops. But like it made me realize, writing about Lute Olson and his influence in Tucson, just how lucky we all are that, one, Lute Olson crossed our paths, but also, 2, that he's created this pipeline of, and this is specifically in the vacuum of basketball, but we can go into the other sports in a second. Like, there is a true pipeline of, if you go to the University of Arizona, you are good enough to play pro basketball somewhere. That's usually, I think,
if you're on scholarship,
yes,
yeah, I agree
that is
with you.
usually the barometer, I think, right? Can you play at least pro basketball like in Australia or Europe? You're good enough for the University of Arizona. And I think that we have Lute Olson to thank for that. Obviously, Sean Miller, obviously Tommy Lloyd, but they stand on his shoulders, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that you spoke to the trickle-down effect, I think, on Friday's pod of how, like, basketball being so successful has led to this expectation that the rest of the programs must uphold. And now you also have softball with its great history. You have baseball. Terry Francona just picked up his 2000th victory in the MLB, I believe. Like, the ties to pro success are unavoidable at the University of Arizona. And that's why I've been trying to call it the program as of recently, because I think that it is a place that if you can play your sport at Arizona, you're probably professional level. And that goes for a ton of sports on campus. And I think we're very fortunate to follow a program such as this. It's where you have Carter Bryant, who didn't even have a great year at Arizona by statistical standards, didn't necessarily have the most standout year by any standard, in my opinion, right? From a national highlight standpoint. But then you have Carter Bryant going up against the number 1 overall pick and really earning his money there in the Summer League. And I understand that it's just the Summer League, and I understand that Cooper Flagg put up 30-plus points. But you have Carter Bryant showing his worth at the pro level way sooner than even the biggest Carter Bryant fans. Even Carter Bryant Muse, I don't think, expected Carter Bryant to hoop this soon at the NBA level, right? And
well,
maybe. But
not NBA level, but yes.
Yes, true. But I mean, Cooper Flagg's NBA level. So I'm saying, he put
up 31 points.
You're right. You get my greater point though. But and then you also have Caleb Love, who I know you and I and my bet and the whole thing, but he did put up a bunch of numbers when he did play for the Blazers recently in the Summer League. So very cool to be able to follow all these pro Arizona Wildcats.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And it kind of, culminated today or yesterday, I should say, with the draft pick of Brendan Summerhill, the second to last pick of the first round in the MLB draft, and he gets selected by the Tampa Bay Rays at 42 overall. I'm not gonna. I told you off air, Kevin. Like, not much needs to be said about like the fits of these players with these teams, because a lot of times in the baseball draft, you just pick who you deem to be the best player available on your board at any given time. But I will say, regarding Brendan Summerhill specifically, I think the Rays are an organization where you respect their scouting department pretty immensely. And it seems like that they kind of have to hit on their draft picks and their international signings, or else they're not going to be competitive, because they can't sign a bunch of money players. That's not, what the resources that they have available to them. And they tend to do pretty well for themselves when it comes to the draft and the international signings. So that being said, I think that Brendan Summerhill is, you got to like that an organization that you trust from a scouting standpoint is selecting him, and hope that ends up working out in the long run.
Another player, I only want to divert this conversation real quick because you reminded me of something else, and I think it's kind of funny to bring up. While the Boston Red Sox have not been able to keep their elite talent and elite prospects on their roster because they always trade them for less than they're worth, I think it is encouraging that, like you said with Brendan Summerhill, that Mason White has been selected by the Boston Red Sox. They have a really good track record of hitting on these prospects. And like I said, unfortunately for the Red Sox fans, they also have a track record of trading those prospects before they truly hit their peak of the sport and before the Red Sox can truly benefit from that peak. So hopefully Mason White is the player that we all think he is and could be at the MLB level, and we get to follow his career for quite some time. Damon, going back to the MLB draft kind of in a more broad sense.
Yeah.
I feel like I know that it wasn't very well marketed, but I feel like Arizona Wildcat fans aren't talking enough about the fact that they had multiple players drafted as high as they did. And I guess coming off of the way the season ended, maybe there's not as much desire to be like as dialed and locked in on the baseball program from the general fan. But I feel like this was something that, even though I was busy this weekend, I still was trying to keep track of like, all right, where are our guys going? I was doing the duck hunt of like, where's the MLB draft? When is it? But like still trying to keep track of guys.
I will say that you do this all the time because Arizona baseball is typically pretty competitive and has ranked teams, and there are players that are being drafted fairly high pretty consistently. That being said, I do think that there's an extra connection factor when you have a team that makes it as far as this team did, where you are like the MLB draft from the College World Series is what, like a month? Like you have like a very short amount of time, and you're still kind of locked in on that team who just had such a great season. So it makes you just want to root for those guys even harder. A guy like Mason White, who, played at this school for so long, and it ended in a rough way, just from a losing standpoint. Only one team can win at the end of the day, but he had a great career, and making the College World Series is something that I'm sure him and his family will be proud of forever. So it's like it's stuff like that. It's cool to see.
And you bring up the family aspect of things. Like, I know a lot of people in the chat can relate to this. Like, how many of us could say that like 3 generations of our family got to watch like what we are, like, whatever your family does, 3 generations of it being watched at the highest level. His dad, his grandfather, and Mason White, all there for the College World Series. So that's got to be a lifelong memory, regardless of the outcome, for Mason White, that he can always have. And the basketball and football guy, Loyal Chatter, here in the AZ Wildcats podcast chat says, is Tony Pluta going to be drafted? And I think that this is something that Damon talked about a lot during the season, about how as much as we love Tony Pluta, it is kind of going to be maybe a bit of a long shot for him for having major league success, just because of the stuff that he does or does not have. Damon, do you think he gets drafted / do you think / where, like in terms of the rounds and stuff?
I would guess no. I would guess that he will be returning to Arizona next season. And, will likely be the closing pitcher again. I just think that he doesn't have the velocity that you need to be a major league pitcher. The margin for the differential is so small. I feel like there's such a big difference between throwing 89 mile per hour cutters and 92 mile per hour cutters. And if he could throw a 92 mile per hour cutter, I think I would be completely speaking differently on this. But he has the makeup of a closer that throws a lot of people off, where you know what is coming, but he still is able to beat you, because cutters are like that sometimes. But I just don't think that he has the stuff necessarily from an athletic standpoint to be at that level. I hope I'm wrong. It would be great to see him be drafted, even if it would hurt this team. Selfishly would love to see him back next season, but if he gets drafted, he can't pass up on that opportunity. He should absolutely go. But Kobe's also right. Like, a lot of times, as we talked about on the D-back show today, Kevin, like Patrick Forbes, who the Diamondbacks picked out of Louisville, starter at Louisville. In the pros, though, they grade out his fastball and his slider as his two high caliber pitches. Doesn't have anything else after that. Typically, if you only throw two pitches, unless you're Ryan Nelson, you're a relief pitcher. So, I think that's probably a guy that even in the first round you're looking at, he was a good starter in college baseball, and you're taking him in the first round, and he might project as a relief pitcher. Like, I don't know that relief pitchers are coveted necessarily on that level, college relief pitchers specifically.
Yeah, and also I feel like this is, you brought up the D-back show. You also referenced this idea on the D-back show earlier. Basketball and Football Guy says, I feel like if he were to be drafted the D-backs might be that team, since they love short players and players that don't have great stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I agree with your Pluto take. I think that, like you said, the margin for success at the pro baseball level is so thin that you really have to have some elite level stuff to make it to the pro level. And if Tony Pluto can get there, I think, like you said, if he can increase his velocity, he should be able to get there. But right now, it doesn't feel like he has the stuff to really hang at the pro level. Yeah, unfortunately. But it could mean we get to see another year of Tony Pluto, and I'm all about that.
Yeah. Basketball and Football Guy says that if he was to be drafted, it'll be by the D-backs, because they love short players and pitchers that don't have great stuff.
That's what I'm saying. You brought that up on the D-back show, and I feel like, you know what I mean? That's just sometimes the way the cookie crumbles. And real quick side note before we get into our first break, our guy Carl here in the chat says, did CFB 26 add Bear Down as a theme song for Arizona? I think that they did.
Nice.
I haven't played the game yet as a result of moving, but as soon as my desk is, Damon, you and I, after our break, real quick, got to talk about furniture building, because I'm going to have to do a lot of that, and you know how I feel about it. But once I do build my furniture, and once I do have my PlayStation set up, I will be playing CFB 26, and I'll have to report back to you, Carl, but I'm pretty sure that they did add Bear Down as a theme song in the game.
Love to see it. You absolutely love to see it. We're going to talk more about the NBA Summer League, Caleb Love and Carter Bryant, what they've been up to, and a little bit of more MLB draft stuff right after the break here on the AZ Wildcats podcast.
And one of my favorite things to talk about is our friends over at Branded Bills, because they got the most stylish hats, headwear, apparel in all of the game. And not only is it the best way to elevate your style, it's the best way to elevate your brand with Branded Bills. Custom, quality made headwear and apparel just for you and your brand at home. But if you don't have a brand and you just want to rep your favorite school or your favorite team, they got Arizona stuff. It's so beautiful. Check out the Arizona campus store with their exclusive Branded Bills display that they have there. Beautiful hats, beautiful designs, territorial cup stuff, softball stuff, baseball stuff you cannot find anywhere else. So check out our friends over at Branded Bills. It's the best way to elevate your brand, a company right here in the Freedom State of Arizona. Use code BBPHNX for 15% off your order of the most stylish headwear, the most comfortable headwear in the entire game.
No doubt about it. We're also talking about our friends at Circle K. Circle K is America's thirst stop. You also know you have all the greatest snacks and drink selection you'll find anywhere. We were out in Texas and they had Circle K's. Much to make us happy, Kevin. It definitely added a little bit of a spark to our day when we stopped at Circle K to get fueled up before we went into Big 12 Media Day, day 2. And if you're not an Inner Circle member, what are you doing, guys? You save 25 cents off per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups. Every day that you fill up after that, you save 3 cents off per gallon until you reach premium status like myself and like Kevin, where you will save 5 cents off per gallon every time that you fill up at the tank. It's so simple to sign up. You input a phone number, you get a username, you select a password, and you're done. It really is that easy. Then every time that you fill up at the tank, you just plug in that phone number and the savings are right in front of you. Make sure that you guys get in on those savings. We all know how expensive gas can be, but Circle K is giving you the best price and giving you the best deal to save even more. So join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit circlek.com for details.
Don't forget those details. No. Never forget those details, Damon. Never at all. And yeah, like I said, I am moving, and so I'm going to have to build some furniture to play these games. And I kind of despise building furniture. It's not really...
Dude, who doesn't?
It's not really my favorite way to pass time. You know
Brother,
what I mean?
I built a shoe rack the other day because my new apartment doesn't, or I guess it's kind of technically a townhome, doesn't have enough closet space in my room. I have the lowest amount of closet space of me and my two roommates. And I, unfortunately, have to find ways to make space. And I had to build a shoe rack that was like 6 stories. Obviously not stories, but like six layers. And it just took forever, man. It took like 4 hours. It was brutal.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I was.
What do you got to make?
I was doing some Amazon shopping for my home office and stuff like that, and I was just doing the thing. I was like, oh, that would be cool, and then some of the stuff got delivered this morning, and it hit me, and I was like, wait, all that cool stuff that I got, I'm gonna have to build it. It's not just gonna appear. No. Manifested. So
absolutely not.
That's probably going to be how I'm spending my nights for the foreseeable future here after work. But Damon, some people that don't have to worry about building furniture, NBA basketball players. You know what I mean? They got all this. They got all the money for all the different types of services. And Carter Bryant, luckily, is now in a tax bracket to where he's probably never going to have to build a damn piece of furniture in his life, unlike your boys. But he's making the money on the court as well. So can we talk a little bit about Carter Bryant and how much he is shining in the NBA Summer League?
Yeah, let's do it. I mean, I think that I'm seeing some like people kind of go after Carter because his stats on paper were not all that great. But if you listen to the people that actually watched Carter Bryant play, and he's been great thus far, but I'm talking about specifically in the game that happened over the weekend where he matched up against Cooper Flagg, I've seen some pushback of like, oh yeah, he really locked up Cooper Flagg, and they posted Cooper Flagg's stats, and he has 31. Posted Carter Bryant's stats, he only had 2 points, 2 rebounds, and 1 assist. On paper, not crazy, right? But you watch the actual moments that he had against Cooper Flagg, and you see the potential of a Carter Bryant. You see why he was drafted as a lottery pick. You see why Tommy Lloyd slow cooked him. Really, that kind of encapsulates it. Like, not aggressive enough on the offensive end, not probably impactful enough in the summer league as you'd like to see. But my God, when it looks good, does it look insane? And the plays he's making in summer league, the blocks that he's making. He had a block in that Mavericks game on an alley-oop attempt where he just like came flying LeBron style and just like sent the alley-oop. Not against Cooper Flagg, but unbelievable highlight play. I think that you just see the potential with a Carter Bryant. And also, if you look at his defensive matchup against Cooper Flagg, I know Cooper Flagg scored 31. I know Carter Bryant only scored 2. But when Carter Bryant was matched up on Cooper Flagg, Cooper had 8 points on 3 of 12 shooting and 2 turnovers. So he almost had as many made shots as turnovers and was 3 of 12, which is good for 25% field goal percentage. I mean, that's pretty damn good, man. He's doing most of his work whenever Carter Bryant was not guarding him. When Carter Bryant was guarding him, he was, overall 10 of 21 from the game. So he was 3 of 12, right?
Yeah.
Or 3 of 9?
Math. I'm bad at math, Damon. I'm bad at math. But the point is that when Carter Bryant was on Cooper Flagg was not doing nothing.
Oh, 7 of 9. I'm sorry. Not
there
3.
You go.
Not 3 and 9. 7 and 9.
There you go. But yeah, when Carter Bryant was on him, he was able to lock him up, able to smother Cooper Flagg, make him uncomfortable. You saw that with the viral thing going on social media that the NBA reposted of Carter Bryant D'ing up Cooper Flagg and making him dribble it out of bounds off of himself. So, like, I think that when you project Carter Bryant into, like, most importantly, when you project Carter Bryant into the Spurs organization, his skill set is perfect for what they have going on in San Antonio. And it seems like he's only validating their choice to draft him by the way he is playing on the court. Yes, his statistics, like in college, his statistics leave a lot to be desired there. But that's not why the Spurs drafted him. They drafted him for what you're seeing on the court, the intangibles, the motor that Edgar brings up in the chat, the honestly the mentality that he brings to the game, right? The way that he spoke about, how he feels defending bigger guys versus smaller guys. He said, "I'll guard anybody. I don't care. I'm just trying to, make sure my matchup has a rough night. I'll guard 1 through 5. I don't care if you're 7'2" or 5'2". I'll lock you up." And that's kind of the thing that we didn't hear a lot from Carter Bryant, but we knew was there at Arizona. And I think that obviously you have summer league overreaction stuff going around this time of year, but it does feel like Carter Bryant is really showcasing the skills that we tried to say were there the whole time. Now, would it have been great? Wouldn't it have been great if he could have showcased that at Arizona? Yes. But I think that like you said, the slow cook allowed him to build confidence into this person that he is now. He hasn't had a lot of games where he's been shaken and just looked absolutely awful and had to get pulled and blah, blah, blah. He was able to slow cook, build up his confidence, build up his skills, and honestly his mentality. And now he looks like one of the perfect guys the Spurs could have taken when they did.
Yeah. Kobe here, who's a Spurs fan, says that Spurs media types think he'll be in the G League for a lot this year because they just have too many wings ahead of him and he's raw. So, you look at the roster situation. You got like a Jeremy Sochan and some Keldon Johnsons, I think is probably still on the roster unless I'm mistaken there. But you got some people ahead of him. You don't typically see lottery players play in the G League. Doesn't typically happen. But he does have a lot of growth that he needs to have. I do agree that the fit is good in San Antonio. I mean, you have players that want the ball in their hands. Sochan played point guard for a lot of last year. They have Darren Fox, who wants the ball in his hands. Wemby's going to get his shots up, and then Dylan Harper is a ball dominant player as well. So he fits really well being kind of a off ball kind of catch and shoot guy that they would probably need in that to fit with them. He just needs to up his volume of 3-point attempts, I think, and his aggressiveness in doing so. But you love to see what you saw from Carter Bryant over the weekend. We have actually our sound from Boots on the Ground, our guys in Las Vegas. We got Espo, we got Shane Diefenbach out there talking ball with all the people, making connections, and of course, hearing from Cooper Flagg on his matchup with Carter Bryant.
I mean, he's an incredible player. He's a really good, person as well. I love Carter. He's really lengthy. He plays really good defense. I mean, he didn't look tired at all the whole game. He was picking me up 94. I was definitely feeling a little bit gassed, but I mean, he was just there, playing great defense, the whole way, physical. He's really long, so he can play really good defense with his length. But I mean, he's a great player. Offensively, I think he has a lot more to show, and he'll get into that. He'll hit shots. He'll do what he has to do. He's a great player. So I know Carter's going to keep getting better.
Lots of respect there from number 1 overall pick Cooper Flagg, who's matched up against Carter Bryant quite a bit now. Yeah. I'm not aware of their matchups in AAU or high school or whatnot. I don't know if they got to play each other at any circumstance, but I do know that they played obviously 2 games for, at their respective college teams where obviously Cooper Flagg got the better end of Carter Bryant and Carter's team in both of those games. But I do think that, Carter probably relished the matchup playing again in the G League against Cooper Flagg because, he has lost to him twice now. Again, Cooper probably gets the better of him on paper, but Carter talked a little bit about his mentality when guarding Cooper Flagg and what it's like to match up against the number 1 overall pick.
I'm looking forward to it since, high school days, to be able to compete with him in the game, for it to be at this level is definitely a special thing. So I'm grateful for it and just ready to keep getting better with him.
Defensively, you put on another show. Just going up against Flagg, did that get your juices flowing even more?
No, I just try to treat every game as I did the last. No game is more important than another. If you start getting up and down, then it's going to be hard for you to wake up and play games when you're playing against teams that aren't that good. You know what I mean? So I just try to keep a level head, try to keep an even mentality towards everything. But, Coop's a hell of a player. You want to compete against the best in the world, so him being the number 1 draft pick is definitely just an opportunity to measure up and compete.
What you make of Dylan's elevation on his block?
It looked good. He looked like me a little bit.
Is that something that you've seen him working on, or something he can bring Obviously, the offense is there, but Coach mentioned being excited about his defense as well.
Yeah, he's a hell of a defender. When he really sits down and gets after it, I think he's one of the, if not one of the best guard defenders in this draft class. So I think for him, just doing it consistently and doing it all the time, he's more than capable of being an all-defensive guy in the future.
Out on the perimeter against a flag, you force that turnover. Just your mentality when you're out on the perimeter and hounding guys like that. What's your mentality?
Just be process-driven rather than result-based. Result-driven. Because a lot of the times, like, you get stops. A lot of guys get hype. They get really high in the game, and then it gets quiet when guys start getting buckets, and that's what's going to happen in this league. We're playing against the best players in the world, like I said. So you don't have times like what Cooper finished with? Like 32, 33, something like that. I mean, I just put my head down and just try to get after it every play. Guys are going to make tough shots. Good players are going to score the basketball. So it's their job to do what they can offensive end, and my job is to do what I can on the defensive end.
When did you develop that mentality to be more of a process-driven kind of guy?
That's just been something my family has said, and I feel like I landed in the perfect place in San Antonio because that was one of the first things they said to me during my interview. It was like, they asked me a question, they were like, are you more process-driven or result-driven? And I was like, I've always been process-driven. I've never been the best player in the country. I've never been the best at absolutely anything in my game. So I think for me, just being able to compete and not focus on the result and focus on the process, you're going to look back and enjoy your career much more than you would have if you're like, damn, I only made 2 shots. I think I shot like over 7 today. Who cares? I got another one on Tuesday. I get to go and compete. So I'm just grateful to compete.
Can you talk a little bit about what it means to represent the IE in the development of basketball out there?
Yeah, I mean, you got to represent where you're from. I'm just grateful that I have the opportunity to do it at the highest level. I mean, almost following in the footsteps of a guy like Kawhi. I mean, I see him grow up and do it. My dad coached him in high school. So for him to drop to the Spurs and do what he did, and I feel like I'm almost following in his footsteps. So, I mean, we have a ton of great hoopers coming out, even in Cali in general. So, SoCal, NorCal, all of the above. I think we're going to have a lot of names in the near future in this league.
For sure. You talk a little bit about your dad and your guys' relationship. Can you talk about that development with him in your game?
Yeah, I mean, he just pushes me to go as hard as I can every rep, every game. I mean, I'll probably talk to him after this game. He'll probably just tell me how can I play harder in certain spurts. There's times where I didn't control the controllables this game. That's all he's focused about, just me getting better and me being more competitive every day. So.
With your shooting, do you feel yourself being a little more comfortable out there shooting the ball?
Yeah, I mean, your shot's gonna fall. Your shot's not gonna fall. At the end of the day, like I've been doing the same. I've been shooting basketball the same exact way since I've been 4 or 5 years old. Like it's gonna fall. I believe that I'm gonna be one of the best shooters in this league. I mean, over 7 performance. I think I shot like 1 for 6 last game. Like, that's not gonna define what I am as a basketball player. So being able to have other things to fall back on, to be able to affect the game positively outside of making shots or scoring the basketball, is just my main focus.
Thank you.
I really like that piece about, the self-awareness aspect. And we always talk about self-awareness on this show, Kevin. What's up?
Breaking news. This is super important, way more important than Carter Bryant could ever be in his entire life. The movers have finished moving my stuff into my new house. You may continue. You have been granted permission.
The irony of talking about self-awareness as Kevin derails the show to update us with his
was that not worthy of this podcast
life.
All right. You know, give your little take, Damon. I'll get back to confirming the movers. Give your little take.
We talk about how much I hate an unself-aware person. I've said that on the show a lot recently. Kevin agrees with me a lot on that, I believe. Carter Bryant is, I think, an extremely self-aware person, and he you see it in the way that he talks about his game when he's like, I've never been the best at absolutely anything while playing basketball. And he knows that, but he knows that he has elite intangibles, as Edgar said earlier, like working hard. You can control that. You can control what you can control, right? I know it's kind of a silly, mundane statement, but it's the truth. And so it's like, do what you can with what you're given and work hard, and the rest will fall into place. And Carter has a great attitude, and it's the reason that he will be successful at this next level.
Yeah, 1,000%. What I'm always most impressed with about Carter Bryant is the way he handles these situations, the way that he has such a, for lack of a better phrase, like a veteran's mindset for these kind of things. Like it's like he's been there before. You know what I mean? And I think that that's the kind of thing that a Spurs organization, to give credit to you and your team, a Heat organization when they were in their prime, like that's what they're looking for. Because everybody in the league, maybe outside of certain teams as a joke, but like everyone in the league knows how to evaluate talent.
Yeah.
If you are a scout in the NBA, you watch a player when they're in the 9th grade. I'm being hyperbolic, but you know if they're a pro then at that point. You know what I mean? But from then on until they get drafted, you're trying to nail down the intangibles. What kind of person do we have here? Do they fit our culture here? And Carter Bryant's one of those players that fits every culture in the NBA if you're serious about winning. So maybe outside of the Charlotte Hornets, Carter Bryant fits every single culture in the NBA. And that's, I mean, like you said, he's incredibly self-aware. The man's a meditation guy. So you know he's mindful, and you know that, you know, we like to joke about Zen Bryant, but you know that he's never too high, never too low. He's always in the moment. And I think that's you can't buy that kind of awareness for an NBA player. And I mean, this is a dramatic example, but you got guys like J.R. Smith in the NBA Finals, their legacy on the line, and they don't have the awareness of what time it is in the basketball game. You know what I mean? So like I think like awareness and intangibles are way more than half the battle when you're evaluating these players. You got guys like Ace Bailey with all the talent in the world, but maybe they don't have the mindset to go capitalize on that talent to the fullest of their ability. So
Yeah.
I'm eager to see where Carter Bryant goes in the NBA. I think he has all the skills, and he's showcasing the skills that he does have to have a very long career in the NBA. But for right now, like Kobe's saying in the chat, he is still going to have to develop some things in his game. But so far, I think you couldn't be any more excited about the prospect Carter Bryant is, within reason.
Yeah,
I mean, he could have went out
absolutely.
there and dropped 30, and we could be on here talking about, is he the greatest of all time? But like within reason, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and in a vacuum, the reps against Cooper Flag look really, really encouraging.
Yeah.
They
And
really
you were
do.
right. I feel like that's an underrated matchup that I really haven't thought much about. They have played against each other
Yeah,
quite
bit.
a fair amount of clock at this
Yeah.
point. So yeah, kind of a fun matchup to see for the rest of their careers.
Real quick before we move on from Carter Bryant and get on to the other Arizona Wildcats, and how they're faring in the Summer League, I did want to talk about a tweet that I saw, and I want to run it by you. And I'm not going to say who said it, in case maybe you did see it, but I just want to run the comparison by you regarding Carter Bryant. A pretty popular NBA media personality said that he reminds him of OG Anunoby.
I did see that.
How do you feel about that? So it was from Kendrick Perkins, friend of the program, not this program, but the basketball program, because Coach Brandon Chappelle played high school basketball with him, I believe. So they're pretty good buddies. But yes, what did you think about that comparison from Kendrick Perkins?
My first initial thought was like, damn, even a broken clock is right twice a day. You know what I mean? But I think that like, in jokes aside, I think that when we had Will Gottlieb on like months and months and months ago, shout out to CHGO, shout out to the draft guide. Will Gottlieb said OG Anunoby was a player that he thinks Carter Bryant should be looking at in terms of the development track of how to make a max contract in the NBA, of how to have staying power. He thinks the skill sets that Carter Bryant possesses lend himself to being like an OG Anunoby type. And OG Anunoby, that's a guy who has had a lot of success in the NBA. And I think that while the name, if you hear it, if you're like a more of a casual NBA fan, you might be like, really? They got Carter Bryant as OG Anunoby? Who the hell even is OG Anunoby? But like, I think that if you really know ball, that is a very, very good comparison to have, because OG Anunoby is going to be playing for a long time doing what he does.
That's a great player.
I feel like Carter Bryant is going to be the same exact way, contributing to winning. And when you look back on their career and they have a couple rings, you're going to be like, oh yeah, maybe they weren't the star on that team, but also they contributed quite a damn lot to those runs. So I think that, yes, Kendrick Perkins, while he might not be right all the time, while he might, I don't want to get too rude about it, but while he might not make our NBA viewing experience that much better, I think he can be right every once in a while. And I think on this one, it's a very good comparison. So maybe whoever fed him that one was on the right track.
He said it. I had not thought of it before. I saw the tweet and I was like, because I'm sorry, I didn't see Will Gottlieb saying that.
It's all right. You were on vacation.
I was on vacation. But that is a very, very good comparison in my opinion.
Yes.
I think it's the exact route. If, as you said, as Will Gottlieb said, if you want the path for how Carter Bryant can be successful at this next level, that's it right there. OG Anunoby at Indiana, his freshman season, averaged 4.9 points per game, 2.6 rebounds per game, and shot 44% from three. Then his second year, his sophomore year, he averaged 11 and 5.5 and shot 31% from three.
Yeah.
On a lot more volume. And then now in the NBA, OG Anunoby is averaging 18 points per game, 6 rebounds, and he's doing it so on shooting splits of 47, 37, 81.
Yeah.
So he's doing it at a pretty efficient level as well.
No,
I looked up their measurements. OG Anunoby is 6'7" with a 7'2" wingspan. Carter Bryant is 6'6" with a pretty sure it's over 7 foot, a 6'11" and 3/4 wingspan. So not quite the wingspan that OG Anunoby has, but a long wingspan and a plus wingspan. I just think that they project very similarly as what their shot diet is going to look like. OG Anunoby is way more of a catch and shoot guy than anything else. He's not necessarily your engine of your offense, but he can put the ball in the basket. He does have the skills too, and he is athletic as hell. So there are times where he does some really cool stuff on the court, but mostly he's there for spot up shooting and being a defensive dog. And I think that's what Carter Bryant projects as if you want to see his ceiling as an NBA basketball player.
And even more encouraging, I mentioned the fact that the way he's talking about his defense as a means to staying around in the NBA has only intensified since he's gotten around that kind of NBA competition. I think it bodes really well. I think like when we talked to Saul Bookman throughout the year about where Carter Bryant could improve, he consistently told us like defensive rotations, locking in defensively, because he has all the skills. He has all the physical capabilities to play in passing lanes, to block shots. He has the verticality. He has the speed to get up, to get back, to guard 1 through 5 if the really small ball 5. But like, you know what I mean? Like he has all those skills defensively that you expect of a defensive stopper, but he struggled to put them all together at the same time at Arizona.
Yeah.
If he can lock in on that end, the offense will follow. I truly believe that the offense will follow with Carter Bryant, but if he can become a consistent top whatever, 4th of the league kind of defender, then we're talking, 10 plus years, like Edgar said, $200 million, and Carter Bryant is on his way to being quite a rich, successful basketball player. But yeah, I like the OG Anunoby comparison. I think is very apt. I think anytime if you're comparing Carter Bryant to a 3-and-D defensive stopper who can be maybe your, I don't want to put like a ceiling on it, but like a 3.5 or 4th best player on like a championship team. Like I think that is exactly where I think Carter Bryant would sign up for that 100 times out of 100. You know what I mean? So I think that is the track for Carter Bryant is that OG Anunoby one.
Yeah, I am 100% with you on that. We're going to talk more about how the other Arizona Wildcats have been faring in the Summer League. We'll do that right after the break here on the AZ Wildcats pod. But first, let's talk about Empire Today. You guys hear me talk about Empire Today all the time because they are the flooring experts. They are not the flooring, maybes, the flooring has-beens.
They're not really just a guy when it comes to flooring.
No, this is what they love. This is what they do, and they are the people that are going to find you the flooring that best suits your home. They're going to do it through their virtual floor designer. Guys, I've talked about it all the time on this program, but the virtual floor designer, they show up at your house, they take a picture of that room, and they tell you exactly what the flooring that you're interested in is going to look like in that room. They show you so that you don't make a purchase that you regret. We all know that making a big giant purchase like getting some new tile, carpet, hardwood, you name it, in your house is going to be you're going to want something that you love because it really ties the entire house together. And Empire Today is going to find you something that you love. This isn't some big box store. This is something that they specialize in. And if you want to look at the over 100, the over 200, 300 options that they have for their floors, all types of styles and colors, head on over to Empire Today and check out what they have to offer. Schedule a free in-home estimate and get a $350 discount when you use our code of PHNX. Head on over to empiretoday.com/PHNX. Use that promo code PHNX and reap the rewards of a $350 discount. Restrictions do apply. Visit empiretoday.com/PHNX for full details.
And we were talking earlier about how hard it can be to watch, certain sporting events sometimes. And if you really don't know where to watch it, you have a pretty safe bet that they're broadcasting it at Gila River Resorts and Casinos at their BetMGM Sportsbook because they got all the massive screens with every sporting event that you could possibly put money on at their sportsbook. And if you don't want to miss out on any of the live action, the thrilling knockouts, the thrilling home runs, anything that you want to watch, the 3-point shots in the summer, check out Gila River Resorts and Casinos, any of their locations across the great state. Usually I'm partaking in that Wild Horse Pass, but I'm going to have to branch out and go to V-Kiva here pretty soon. So check out Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Don't miss any opportunity to do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Damon, I see you're itching to talk about our friends over at Gila.
I can't wait to head out to V-Kiva with you. I want to get a lay of the land. I'm a man who when I'm in my city, I want to know everything about that place. I want to go to all the places. I want to check it out. I want to have the geography of the campus over at V-Kiva down to a T. I already know Wild Horse Pass like the back of my own hand. But now it's time to branch out and check out the other 3 great Gila River locations that we have in this great metropolitan area.
1000%. When me and my girlfriend were driving back from our new place and I saw V-Kiva, I was like, oh, I almost stopped the car and went there right then. And I was like, we just got to go now.
Here, hold. I just want to check.
Just 1 second. No, I promise. It'll just be 1 second. We're just going to place one bet. We're just going to place one. We're just going to place one on Derek Lewis.
And then I'm going to go.
And then we're going to be good. Derek Lewis probably knock out round 1. But I promise, babe, the rent paid. Trust me.
That would have only lasted 30 seconds. You actually would have been out of there pretty fast.
It would have lasted longer than the fight. You know what I'm saying? I would have been rented up
right now. By the way,
now.
Tell them to get me my money, Kevin.
Bring me my money. Yeah.
I told you I'm betting on Derek Lewis because I knew we got it in the bag. But
let's just say this weekend I #bet on black and it did not do very well for me. But yeah, sometimes you just gotta bet on red. You know, next time I'll be betting on red, not betting on black. But Derek Lewis did come through for me at the end of that card quite nicely. And what are we gonna come through with these people for? What was that a real English sentence?
No.
What are we gonna come through with for these people at the end of our show today, Damon?
We're going to talk a little bit of Caleb Love in his last 2 games. Caleb Love has 18 points per game, 3.5 rebounds, 1.5 assists, a half a steal, and a half a block. How do you feel about what you've seen from Caleb Love so far? I'm sure it's mostly been highlights. I don't expect you to be sitting down watching Portland Trailblazers Summer League games from start to finish, but it does feel as though Caleb Love is doing well in his start in Portland and making a name for himself a little bit within that fan base. I tweeted, they put some highlights of him up the other day from their main Twitter account, and it had 0 comments at the time that it got tweeted, which is crazy for an NBA franchise, I feel like. But it was late at night, to be fair, that they tweeted it, and I just went in the comments and I said, the franchise.
And bro, I've been saying this since he got signed and they gave him DA's number. This is the franchise right here.
And it did decent for a reply. It had about 15 likes.
There you go.
Trailblazers fans eating it up, being like, you know what? This is the guy. Hand him the damn keys. But I like Caleb Love's fit in Portland. I think he makes the roster. What about you?
I mean, I think I've been the conductor of the Caleb Love as a professional basketball player train, and I think that I'm going to continue to fire coal into the engine of this train.
Tommy Lloyd gets to be the conductor of that train.
No, actually, I'll fight for this. Actually, no, because I've been conducting this train since I was like 15 damn years old, and Tommy Lloyd probably didn't even know who Caleb was at that point.
Brother, I'm not gonna. You don't get to sit here and be like, I am a scout because I thought the #1 point guard in the country was gonna make it to the NBA one day.
But I'm just saying,
guy was an unbelievable high school basketball player.
My point was, I've been conducting this train long before it made a stop in Tucson. And then Tommy got on the train. I'm not saying that he's riding a bandwagon. I'm not saying none of that. But what I am saying is, if there's a conductor, the Caleb Love Experience bandwagon or train, my application is high on the stack. You know what I'm saying? So regardless of who's driving the train, I've been on the train since day one. And I think that Caleb Love is a pro. I think he is an NBA player. And you asked me for how I feel about Caleb Love's performance. The word is vindicated. The word is I feel right. In my opinion about Caleb Love, I think that, hey, Han San Yang or Yang Han, I don't want to be, you know what I'm saying, whatever proper pronunciation and ordering of his name is the way to do it. I'm excited for that because you're saying I'm not watching Portland Trailblazers games from start to finish, but they got the pillar and they also have the franchise. So I don't know what else you need me to be interested in there, but I'm all in on these Portland Trailblazers right now. The Boston Celtics farm system, as you might say. Maybe Caleb Love is a Boston Celtic before the end of the season, and I'm buying a Love.
Well, it depends how well he plays, because Brad Stevens will call up Joe Cronin. Joe Cronin will say, what do you want the trade to look like? Brad will say,
Brad,
blah, blah,
how
blah.
Are you doing?
Here, let me think. This guy's playing really bad right now, and we have this bad contract we don't want on the books anymore, so maybe you take those guys. We, of course, get Caleb. Those guys will figure it out. They always do.
Yeah, but I real quick before you continue, I do just feel correct in my assumption that Caleb Love is a pro, that he possesses the skills of a pro and the experience of a pro, and I'm glad that he's showcasing that, albeit in the NBA 2K Summer League. but you can only play the competition that you're up against. And I think Caleb Love is showing why he belongs at the NBA level.
I think Caleb Love is like, he's definitely the type of player where I think that other basketball players and organizations themselves will value him higher always than how the common fan will value him. Like, I think most people are going to look at Caleb Love's stats and be like, he's not very good. Whereas like people that actually hoop will be like, that dude's a dog. That guy, you want that dude on your team with the ball in his hands specifically. So that's where, I think that he'll do well for himself at the pro level, despite maybe not having a lot of, backers in his corner. But honestly, ultimately, you talked about this with Saul when it happened at the time, like probably a good thing he went undrafted because he gets to choose his spot. He gets to go to a weak guard rotation in Portland and hopefully make that roster over there. But I did want to just point out the players ahead of him in the rankings, Kevin, when he was in high school.
Go for it.
Cade Cunningham, number 1.
Yep.
Jalen Green, number 2. Evan Mobley, number 3. Jonathan Kuminga, number 4. Zaire Williams, number 5. Brandon Boston, number 6.
Kind of an insane class. Like, I'm not saying it's like one of the greatest of all time.
All but Brandon Boston are like pretty solid to like high impact NBA players. Is Brandon Boston in the league?
He was. In the league.
He averaged 10 points per game last year. He's pretty good too.
Yeah, like I feel like that's a pretty underrated class right there. I know that Caleb Love, as much as we love him, is kind of the odd man out there in a way, but I really do think that's a nuts class.
Then you got Josh Christopher, number 8 to ASU. And he's
great dresser though.
He was on the Heat's G League team last year. Then you have Scotty Barnes, number 9, and then number 10 is Terrence Clark, who unfortunately passed away in a car accident. So
R.I.P.
Rest in peace, Terrence Clark.
But that's an unbelievable class.
It is interesting. I mean, it's got a lot of players that went to weird schools.
That's a good point too. You got OK State.
I'm gonna read you the top 10 schools for all these players. Oklahoma State, the G League Ignite.
Yep.
USC.
Okay.
I think Kuminga played for G League Ignite too, didn't he?
I think so.
It just says pro.
I'm pretty sure it was G League.
I knew
Ignite.
Jalen Green for a fact played for G League Ignite. But I'm pretty sure Kuminga did as well. So you got Oklahoma State, G League Ignite, USC, G League Ignite, then Stanford, Kentucky, North Carolina, ASU, Florida State, Kentucky. So
Ironically,
you have 2 blue blood schools, 2 Kentucky, 1 North Carolina, and all the rest are like really like pretty putrid basketball programs, to be completely honest with you. Oklahoma State kind of sucks. USC kind of sucks. Stanford used to be good, but sucks and has for 2 decades now. And ASU is one of the biggest joke of a basketball programs that you'll ever find. So that's crazy to me.
It is crazy. And ironically, the list almost got more blue bloodish as you went down the list, right? Like, it's kind of interesting in that way.
And then there's a bunch of Duke, North Carolina guys right after that. But Marcus Bagley, ASU got two top 30 guys.
Remember that guy?
Remember when Bobby Hurley was actually like recruiting good and everybody was like, our basketball program's on the up and up. And now they'll like pretend like they didn't back him at all.
But they forgot about the fatal flaw in that their head coach is Bobby Hurley.
Their head coach is a walking technical. You know what I mean?
A walking tantrum, in fact.
100%.
No, 1,000%. But yeah, I love Caleb Love's position on the Portland Trailblazers. I think he has a really good shot to make the roster, like you alluded to. That is why I was celebrating my bet a little too early, Ilya Tuporia style. But I think it's going to be good. I think he's going to be an NBA player. I think he's going to sign that contract. And I think that Steve Rivera is going to owe me a copy of his book. You know what I mean? So, and Michael Scarn here, a.k.a. Crack in the Back, says, more of an open floor will only help Caleb Love if he could be a bit more unselfish and model his game a bit like Derek White. Shout out to the Celtics. He could find a great spot.
I love Derek White so much. I wish he was not on your team.
I will say, like, real quick on this comment, I agree. First of all, I want to say I agree with everything you had to say in this comment. But I do think, like, it's as good of a player and as well-rounded of a player as Caleb Love has become. I do think it's a bit, I'll use the word unrealistic, to expect him to be able to get to Derek White's level of defense. Derek White's one of the best perimeter defenders like we've seen in recent memory. You know what I mean? And I think like at the guard position, it's incredibly hard to be that level of defender. I think Caleb Love at best will probably be maybe an above serviceable defender. You know what I mean? At the NBA level. I just don't see him having the Derek White level of impact in that way. But I do love everything else you're cooking here in this comment. But I think
Caleb
maybe Derek White would be the wrong one
because he's a very ball dominant player, and he probably is not gonna. They're not gonna give you the ball like that to start off your NBA career when you went undrafted.
Unless you're the franchise.
That's just the facts of the situation. True, he is the franchise, but he's gonna have to earn those shots and find ways to earn those shots, and that's gonna start by playing defense, making the right passes, and all of the above. So 100%, like he's gonna have to really showcase his all around game, I think, at the next level if he wants to be a NBA player for a long time, which I think he absolutely can do. But we're going to go into overtime here on the AZ Wildcats podcast. And on the other side, we'll talk about some other Arizona Wildcats in the Summer League.
And we are officially on the other side now, Damon. And
let's talk a little bit of Miami Wildcats here, Kevin, as Pelle Larsson and Keshad Johnson both make the California Classic team, which I believe only consisted of one game for the Miami Heat, but they performed really well in that one game. I'm looking up here the California Classic to try to find you the other names on this list.
I mean, I feel like just the fact that we can call them the Miami Wildcats is iconic in its own right. You got, and honestly, the fact that they're all from the same era of team as well, like that's pretty cool. Umar Ballo, Keshad Johnson, Pelle Larsson.
There's a picture of them like all standing next to each other on the court. It's pretty hilarious.
Isn't that insane? Like, I think like it'd be one thing if you had like, I don't know, pull a cat. Like if they ended up on the Pacers, right? And you have Benedict Mathurin somewhere else, and you have like TJ McConnell, Keshad Johnson, and Pelle Larsson. It's awesome, right? But it's kind of like hey, my fellow kids, like with TJ McConnell doing that kind of thing. When this is
it's more like Master Splinter walking in the back.
Yes, that's a way better reference. I appreciate, and it's way more complimentary.
This is Verbal Meme, the Verbal Meme podcast of all podcasts, if you've ever wanted one.
Yeah, no, but yeah, like I was saying, like this is guys from the same era of Arizona basketball playing all on the same team in the pros. You cannot write a better script than that unless you're having them all get taken in the damn lottery. Like you can't have a better script than that. So regardless of where Umar Ballo ended his college career, I cannot be any more happy that he ended up with Keshad Johnson.
I bet Umar Ballo considers himself a Wildcat at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think he considers himself a rich man and an Arizona Wildcat.
There's very true.
You know what I'm saying there?
I think that and I've said this before with the transfers and like who you can claim and who you can't these days. I think that it's a sliding scale, and I think you have to look at each particular case in a vacuum.
Yes.
Like if, I'm not going to jump to conclusions, but like I would imagine that like if KJ Lewis makes the NBA, like I think that like that he's Georgetown.
Probably for the way that it, I feel like, not that it was like an ugly ending, but it just was like an unceremonious kind of, some people like in the fan base didn't really want him here anymore. And yeah, so I could totally see him going to a new place if he's embraced, kind of claiming that.
Gunnar Maldonado. That's I mean, I know he's been a triple Wildcat, but that's an Arizona Wildcat. He's from the state of Arizona. He spent 3 or 4 seasons here. He then went on to a different team, a better team on paper. I think we wish him luck. Like that's a guy who, like, at the end of the day, I still claim that guy. Why not?
Conrad Martinez, forever Wildcat.
All right, man.
No, okay, no, joking, but genuinely, like,
It's the joke period.
I want to. Welcome to the Verbal Meme, aka Joke Podcast. I wanted to throw a name at you though and ask you if you think he's a forever Wildcat, real quick, because it's kind of a similar situation to what we're talking about with Umar Ballo, but not quite, because it hasn't played out yet, and I think he's a better player, quite frankly, than Umar Ballo is. Henry Vesar.
Yeah, that one's up in the air. That's up in the air for me. It depends on what Henry Vesar says and does during his North Carolina career. If
he's going to Arizona baseball games or softball games, I should say.
If he makes some stupid comment about like this is like the pinnacle of college basketball or something like that, he's I mean, you immediately get your Wildcat chain snatched straight off of your body.
It's one more verbal meme. It's the little baby putting the 4PF chain on someone, but in reverse where he's taking it off. That's what we got going on.
We have to post that from, if he does say something like that, we'll have to post that from our account. That is absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, one more verbal meme for us. Now I kind of hope
he does, just so we can do that, because I don't want that to go to waste. But
we could have. I mean, looking back on it, we could have used that for Adia. We could have used that for...
Yeah, you ain't 4PF anymore.
No.
That actually has to be our thing now, 100%. But yeah, I love that. I love that so much. The words can't describe how much I love that. But it all depends on what he says and does for me.
It does.
Because as of right now, he doesn't get to this point without Tommy Lloyd in Arizona. So you're a product of us, in my opinion. And if he doesn't make the NBA, I'm blaming completely Hubert Davis and being like, yeah, you guys guess who would have got you in the pros? Tommy MF and Lloyd, bro.
Yeah, and the show has officially started an hour and 4 minutes.
We've just been sitting here in silence waiting for you, sister. It's good to hear from you.
Literally an hour and 4 minutes, 30 seconds and accumulating.
Some are calling the Merck game tonight the biggest game in the history of women's basketball. I don't know if you've heard that, but I'm all over plus 114. How dare they disrespect us, Erica? But that's for another podcast. Getting back on track here, the All-California Classic team, Keshad Johnson, David Jones-Garcia from the Spurs, Pella Larson, Jackson Rowe from Golden State Warriors, and Cole Swider of the Los Angeles Lakers, who was MVP of the Heat's Summer League winning team last year. Unbelievable Summer League player. Probably the GOAT of Summer League, Cole Swider. But, yeah, those guys playing good ball. Pella Larson, we have here on a tweet, if you wouldn't mind pulling up, Kevin. We have this tweet here from Wade X Flash. Says, Pella Larson has easily been our most consistent player in the Summer League in his last 4 games. This is for the Miami Heat, of course. 18 points, 15 points, 16 points, 14 points, all on pretty efficient shooting, all with, a classic Pella Larson steady diet of rebounds and assists for you as well. It says year 2 Larson is locked in. I think he figures to play a fairly important role next year on the Miami Heat, and looks like he's doing well and doing his job in Summer League thus far, which is just look like one of the standout players on the court at all times. You're in year 2. Your job is to look like you're a step above a lot of the competition. His draft mate, Khalil Ware, who had way more hype and was, considered to be like a piece that could go for KD and whatnot, has not done that. Whereas Pella Larson has stepped up and really has. So you love to see it out of Pella Larson.
Tying back into what I was saying earlier about Carter Bryant, like in the bar being so high to play on scholarship at the University of Arizona. Pella Larson is a player, maybe you feel differently, but I highly doubt that you do. As soon as he made it to the pros, I had no problem declaring that he's going to be able to stick and stay in the pros because of his skill set being so well-rounded and being so valuable at the pro level. And it just kind of goes back to like Tommy Lloyd is bringing in guys that can play in the pros. Whether you end up in Europe or whether you end up in the G League, or whether you end up in the lottery like Carter Bryant.
To your point, like Pella Larson, when he transferred, no one thought he was a professional basketball player, and now it's just like, yeah, he's gonna be in the league for 10 years.
It's the damn program, Damon. I'm telling you,
Tommy Lloyd is just a absolute wagon of a coach, right? Like the guy brings in a freshman from Utah who averaged 8 points per game, and he was like, "You want to go to the league?
Yeah, I mean,
do you,
Walk
Pella? With me? Walk with me, Pella."
He's like, "Me?" Doing the another verbal me.
And then he says, "I'm not asking twice."
You're either coming or not. The bus is leaving.
The bus is leaving with or without you. But he makes the right choice in the end. Keshad Johnson on the other side of things really hasn't been playing very well. I haven't been watching much of the Heat Summer League games, but unfortunately, it does seem as though he is on a standard contract, not a two-way contract, and that does feel like the big differentiator for him. Because a two-way contract means he could go play in the G League for the Sioux Falls Skyforce and kind of, develop his game there. But since he's on a standard contract, it means that he's taken up one of the valuable roster spots on the team, and he hasn't been performing as good as you would like in the Summer League thus far. So we could be running into a situation where Keshad Johnson gets unfortunately waived by the Miami Heat, but I do think that there's a world in which they bring him back on a two-way, send him to the G League, and let him develop his game, which Sioux Falls has been a place that players have consistently developed their games and gotten very, very good at basketball. I'm not even talking about just like good players. I'm talking about like players that are like rotation pieces. I'm talking about like Hassan Whiteside went there and got a max contract out of it. Like, you got guys like, I think Khalil Ware did play in the Sioux Falls for a tiny bit, but Max Strus played there. Like, you have players that are earning contracts in the NBA after playing in there. And also, how great is that dichotomy between cities? How smart is that from the Heat? Like, they're like, oh yeah, you're about it. You want to grind, and you're just a dog at the end of the day. Well, we're gonna send you to South Dakota, and if you perform well, we'll see you in South Beach.
You know what I'm laughing about when you bring that up? Like the idea that, we've seen countless documentaries about NBA players that once you get drafted, your distant family members start hitting you up like, hey, can I get 100? Hey, let me hold 1,000. Like, I need this. Can I get tickets? Could you imagine you get drafted to the Miami Heat, but like maybe in the end of the first or like maybe in the second, and your tertiary family members and friends are like, oh, my boy's going to the Heat. We're going to be in Wade County with it, partying it up. Oh my goodness! And then you're like texting him like,
they're doing the
bro,
Will Smith song.
Congrats, where are you at, bro? I'm booking my ticket to Miami right now.
Bienvenido a Miami. Just in the background, just the whole, you're just ripping it on loop in the house.
And then the guy's on the phone like, bro, I just landed in South Dakota. I don't book I won't.
Wait, what? Wait, what? Pat Riley?
Yeah, no, I'm in the G League, right? So like, we don't play in Wade County.
It's
we
not
don't.
in Fort Lauderdale.
Brother.
It's not the same place where the Panthers play in Sunrise.
They're like, yeah, I'm in Sioux Falls. They're like, who falls? Did Grandma fall? Is she okay? Like, I don't know. No, like, brother, I'm in Sioux Falls. That's where I'm gonna be spending the next at least 6 to 8 months of my life. He's like, oh, no, I'll hit you up later. Hello? Oh, no. All right, bro.
Beep.
Yeah, no, it's that kind of energy. So
I do think it's great though. I think like it's such a smart move from the Heat to just be like, we'll have them across the country. We'll have them in hell. It'll be freezing cold.
It's not even hell. It's like purgatory. It's more purgatory vibes. You know what I mean?
No, I think it's a great play. I love it. But hopefully he finds his way back to the Heat. But it seems like Pelle Larsson's doing great. Kevin, before we get out of here, I did just want to say shout out to the other Arizona Wildcats who have been drafted, who we have not mentioned because we talked about our guy Mason White, who's friend of the program. We talked about Brandon Summerhill being a first-round pick. We did not talk about Casey Hintz, who just got drafted a minute ago.
Yeah, I was actually about to bring it up if you didn't. So.
By the Seattle Mariners.
Locked
in the 16th round of the MLB draft.
Pick 482.
We also didn't talk about Hunter Alberini, who was picked in the 11th round by the Kansas City Royals. We didn't talk about Julian Tongini, who was drafted in the 7th round by the Washington Nationals. Adonis Guzman was picked by the Pittsburgh Pirates in the 5th round earlier today, which that seemed high for Adonis Guzman, but I feel like he could definitely be the type of player where he's maybe not a star catcher in the league, but he could be a backup catcher. It's like maybe catching some Paul Skeens ball in Adonis Guzman's future. And then you have the highest pick player that we haven't talked about in the competitive balance round B round, which is right after the 2nd round. Aaron Walton was picked 66th by the Cleveland Guardians. So shout out Aaron Walton as well. Shout out all of those Arizona Wildcats who have been drafted.
Two more shout outs before the end of the show.
Another one?
Yeah, just tweeted this morning. I didn't really pick it up because moving, guys. Sorry. Devin Ness, congratulations. And Colton Smith.
Traded, right?
I mean, well, but also nominated for Big 12 Athlete of the Year.
Wow.
Devin Ness and Colton Smith of the men's tennis team. Devin Ness, obviously, the softball team. Pretty much Shohei Ohtani on dirt. So
better
than Shohei Ohtani because
I said that to her.
Not a degenerate gambler.
When we did our interview with her, I said, hey, Devin, some people are saying you're better than Shohei.
Oh, man. But yeah, no, congratulations to them. And congratulations to all the recently drafted Arizona Wildcats.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a great show to start off the week, Kevin. Lots to talk about from the weekend. We will be back tomorrow on a Tuesday at 2 p.m. Make sure you guys are here and ready to rock. Like this video if you haven't. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already either. It helps us out so much. We're trying to get to 50K before football season. It's a lofty goal, but it starts with you guys. It starts with you. So make sure that you throw us a subscribe, throw us a like on this video. I would be remiss if we didn't mention our Chicken and Pickle pickleball tournament that we have on the horizon here, Kevin. I've competed in one of them. It is so much fun. All of the proceeds will be going to Big Brothers Big Sisters of America. So you know that it'll be helping out a good cause. It's on Saturday, July 26th. It starts at 10 a.m. $35 for an individual, $70 for a team. And of course, it's so much fun. Chicken and Pickle, great environment, unbelievable food. They got all the courts lined up right in a row, inside facilities, so you're not outside in that Arizona heat. And of course, they have the bar and all the drinks. So head on over to our website, gophnx.com/events. See what we got in store and sign up for our pickleball tournament.
Leave a like on this video if you like pickleball. Leave a like on this video if you don't like pickleball. Leave a like on this video if you're indifferent towards pickleball. And that means that all of you have to like this video. So
leave a like on this video if you breathe oxygen.
Yes.
Leave a like on this video if you
woke up today.
If you have a nose.
Yeah.
Let's just keep it.
Yeah. I mean, if you woke up today, if you had breakfast today, if you plan on having breakfast at all at any point in the rest of your life, if you plan on moving, if you're a human being, like this video. And can we end the show now? I think we've listed every human that needs to like this video.
I think that you were about to say real quick, though, that if you don't have a nose, you can also like the video.
Yeah.
But I want to make it very clear
Voldemort, you're out of here.
Yeah,
you're done.
If you don't have a nose,
that's crazy.
Stay away from this.
I mean, what
podcast.
if there was an accident?
I'm alienating.
What
people.
if there was an accident? What if you had some sort of mishap where you lose your sniffer?
I'm sorry, man. I don't. That's where I draw the line.
Well, I don't draw the line. You're welcome in my responses anytime. If you don't have a nose,
he who shall not be named.
If you don't have a nose, please follow me on Twitter. I will accept you in my life because you deserve fandom. You deserve love. Got your nose. And on that note, we got to get out of here, Damon. We're alienating people. We're being ableist. Let's get the hell out of here. We're done. We're done on a Monday.
We are done on a Monday. Shout out everybody for watching. Follow me at Damon Dog. That's DAWG on the end of that. Follow Kevin at KevoPost. That's KEVOPOSTS. Follow me at PHNX_Wildcats, or our account, I should say. Not me. It is me a lot. It's also Kevin a lot.
It's we.
Sometimes it's Emma.
Wow.
You never know what you're getting from the AZ Wildcats podcast on social. So follow us at PHNX_Wildcats. And we'll be back on a Tuesday at 2 p.m. But until then, peace out. Bear down.
And go Cats. Max, get the hell out of our chat, brother.
We all silly like the mayor.